For this assignment, we're going to be using the contact sheet to display a sort of sample of our patterns. And then we'll, of course, also include all of our patterns as individual pattern layers so we can see what's going on. But in order to understand how a contact sheet works, you really need to understand how actions work in Photoshop. Now, actions are just a way of recording your procedure, or actions, if you will, such as changing the file size, duplicating the image layers, changing the mode, the blending mode. All that stuff can be recorded, as can many of the tools. I've got just a sampling them written down here. So the marquee tool, move tool, polygon lasso tool, the magic wand tool, the crop tool, the slice tool, the magic eraser, the gradient tool, the paint bucket tool, the type tool, shape tool, the notes tool, the eyedroppers tool, the color sampler tool, and also you can do panels like the history panel, swatches, colors, paths, channels, layers, styles, and even the actions panel itself. So you can record something that you have that you're planning on doing more than once, and then do it more than once. And this is a big deal. I've many times throughout my career needed to work on files and do the same thing sometimes hundreds of times. I'll be presented with a large number of photographs and I'm told resize all of these to a specific size, and then, that's about it. Not a problem. I build an action, do it once, point to the folder, and do it hundreds of times. So because of this, we're going to want to be able to make our own and set them however we need. Now, that said, the actions, while vital to your career and perhaps even to your life, you don't necessarily need them to know what they do in order to do this assignment. So if you're crunched for time, go ahead and skip ahead to the contact sheet section of the video, then roll back to these after you've completed the assignment. But do make sure you watch them. It's very important to be able to record actions and play actions and do actions. So that said, there are a couple of things that you need to do in order to prepare for making actions. But before we do even that, let me show you what actions are, because there's a chance that you've just never seen them before. I'm just going to go up to the window menu and I'm going to choose actions. And you can see that the default actions have quite a few interesting things. And what you can do to apply these is simply click on something like vignette and press play. And you'll see the command feather is not currently available, and you'll tell it continue for whatever reason and nothing happens. So what just happened there? Well, turns out that Adobe has let a lot of things kind of rot over time. And if you fly this open, you'll see that you have things like feather and reduce, but it's no longer just feather. So I'm going to uncheck that so that it skips it. I'm going to play again. And you can see without feather, nothing works. And so this is usually when people stop playing with actions. They just get frustrated and call it quits. But I'll show you what they did wrong and how to fix that by making your own. But before we do that, I'm just going to do something like the wood frame 50 panel and press play. And you notice that the image must be a size, minimum size 100 pixels high and tall. I know that's the case. I'll press continue. And voila, we've got a wooden frame. Ta-da! Kind of cheesy, but there it is. And you can go through all of these, and you'll find that they even have more actions available if you start loading them in. We have a whole bunch of different frames and image effects, which can be pretty fun, like aged photo. If I play aged photo, it will suddenly age the photo. If I play soft focus, it will do a soft focus on the aged photo. If I do soft flat colors, and all I'm doing is clicking on one and pressing play, and I can do it more than once if I want. It's fine. And let me do it however much as I choose. I can do light rain, which will add a rain effect on top of everything. You can do neon edges. You can really go to town on it. But what I think is excellent about this entire process is you can flip this out and see each of the steps. It does a make snapshot effect, and you can flip out and see what the controls are for that. Does it convert the mode? Make sure that's in RGB. It hides the current layer, and it goes through all of this. So it's essentially doing something that an Adobe engineer did earlier. That said, I believe some of the effects, like the vignette effect on the selection, so this one makes more sense. If you select it first, it should actually work. So let's go ahead and play it. And notice now it has the feather selection. You'll tell it okay, and it'll go through. So what they did wrong was they did not make the selection themselves. So you can actually correct the vignette selection by going in and recording a selection process. And we'll do that after I show you how to do some recording. So what if you want to reset all of this? Well, they have those abilities. You can reset all actions, tell it okay, and you'll go back to the original. Now that said, this is an action set. I've heard people call them groups because everything else in Photoshop is called a group, except for whatever reason the actions, which is a set. We're going to go ahead and program one by hand, just so I could show you some of the nuances, and then we'll go in and correct the vignette effect once we understand what's happening there. And that should be about it. I'll show you a few other things that you can do with these that are pretty neat, or rather talk about a few other things that are available inside of these. Phlearn has some great videos on actions, but you'll notice if you start looking for specific stuff, it will be lacking. I find the best way to update myself on actions is to play with them and also read the manual from Adobe's website to find out if anything's changed in new versions. All right, that said, next video, we'll start playing with actions. See you in a moment.